Disciplined is overrated. The more you chase it, the weaker you feel. So, the discipline myth. Have you ever noticed how you'll show up for your team, your clients, your family, but when it comes to the promises you make to yourself, those are typically the first to go? So, is this just an accountability thing? Do we just need to white knuckle it until we hopefully make it out the other side? It's so heavy, I can't do it all. Stick figure guy. So, the lie we tell ourselves, it's this false belief that we must take care of everyone and everything first. Right? And if there is any energy left, then maybe we can do one thing for ourselves. Does this sound familiar? It's not that we don't want to, our dreams and ambitions are just so strong. But we've trained ourselves to delay gratification so long that we do forget to allow ourselves to have those personal moments. So we have to consciously give ourselves permission. And if this sounds familiar, you're probably like this icon over here juggling health, career, business, family, finances, you, which includes your hobbies, anything else like that. This is a transition slide. And if you've ever felt that gap between what you want and what you follow through on, you're not alone. And that's exactly what I help people solve. So, why do I care about this? Hi, I'm Anthony Tibbetts. That's me. I work with high capacity professionals who look very successful on paper, but secretly we feel scattered. And I believe that the problem isn't you, it's the setup you're running your life on. If you're tired of weeks that look full but still feel like you're failing, this training is for you. So let me show you what this looks like in real life. Let's go. So it gives me the right. I had a client actually recently, and she felt like she needed 36 hours in a day just to keep up. She was running a production company with her husband, designing an apartment unit for passive income, from design all the way to the middle of building it, and raising two kids. She did not have a discipline problem. She had a system problem, a setup problem, whatever you want to call it. That's what she had. And research proves this. 70 to 75% of change efforts fail. That's not because people don't care, but because they don't have the right system to sustain that change. And as Edward W. Edwards Deming, he's the father of modern quality management, says, a bad system will beat a good person every time. It means regardless of how strong, how smart, how dedicated, how focused you are, how much sleep you're not getting, if you have a bad system, that system's going to beat you. Reflection time. So let's think about last week. Did you end with pride or with guilt? And was that about effort or about how you defined your success? So if discipline isn't the problem, then what is? Let's talk about it. What's in it for you? As we've talked about, most achievers think they just need more discipline, but discipline isn't the problem. Your setup is. It's like running uphill with a backpack of bricks. Fix the design, and suddenly it feels like you're running downhill with the wind at your back. That's a heavy backpack filled with bricks. So stay with me. I'm going to break down 3 simple shifts that will help take discipline off of your shoulders and put progress back on autopilot. All right, let's break down into 3 shifts that can change everything. This is exciting. Smiley face, nerd face. Let's go. Shift number 1, environment beats willpower. I'm going to start here with a personal story. When I was studying chemical engineering, the workload was a lot. Insane is an understatement. I first started studying, tried to study, as you can see, the first floor of the library. Lots of noise, people hanging out. And as you can imagine, it did not go well. I did not get a lot of studying done. Because the truth is, I get distracted easily. I love people watching. If someone laughs across the room, my attention's gone. I want to see what's so funny. That environment definitely was not working for me. You have to pick. Do you want the clean desk or do I want the people watch? Maybe you thrive in that environment. That was not I. The cost of every distraction. So after I realized I was not studying well on that first floor, I moved to the fourth floor of the library. It's a silent floor. I found a little cubby desk, one of those wooden desks where I had no distractions, and that's where I stayed. And suddenly I started focusing. That's when I realized environment will always beat willpower. If your setup is wrong, you're doomed from the start. Cal Newport, an author of the book Deep Work, he actually calls this attention residue, which is basically every interruption leaves a trace. It's not like you just go back and forth. It's going to take more energy, and your energy depletes over time. Very important. So I want you to ask yourself, what's one distraction you already know that is stealing your focus, and are you willing to cut it just this week? If you find that distraction, um, figure it out, write it down, and if you're comfortable, go ahead and share it in the comments. I bet you're not the only one. Shift number 2, clarity creates consistency. So the cognitive science research shows the brain can only hold up to about 3 to 4 priorities at once. Anything beyond that is overload. So we got 1, 2, 3, maybe we got 4 in the brain over here. Number 5, I can't fit, sad face. All right, I got a cool story here. Oh, this is awesome. So it takes Sylvester Stallone, the actor, um, and the writer. You'll see in the 1970s, he was dead broke. He couldn't pay his rent. He even had to sell his dog just to buy food. But he wrote this script. I don't know if you ever heard about it, called Rocky. So he started pitching it. Studios saw the potential. They offered him hundreds of thousands of dollars, life-changing money. But the catch, they didn't want him to star in it. So Stallone was crystal clear. He didn't just write Rocky, he was Rocky. So he turned down the money over and over. People laughed at him, called him crazy, but he refused to let that clarity go. Eventually, a small studio finally took a chance on him. They had a tiny budget, but Stallone got to be the lead of Rocky, and the rest is history. And the movie became one of the greatest underdog films of all time. See, that wasn't just consistency. What carried him was the clarity. He knew exactly who he was and exactly what role he was meant to play. Question time. So, if you only got credit for 2 outcomes this week, which ones would actually change your life? In other words, what 2 results are you looking for that are going to bring you closer to the future you want to have? Drop them in the comments. Curious to find out. Let's go. Change. All right. Shift number 3 and the last shift. Why identity always wins. Love this story. And take a little history, little journey down history lane. In 1914, Ernest Shackleton, he set out with 27 men on a ship called Endurance, hoping to be the first to cross Antarctica. No thank you, it's too cold. But disaster struck, and the ship actually got trapped in the ice over time. And the pressure of the ice was so great that it actually crushed the ship, the Endurance, into pieces. So suddenly, Shackleton and his 27 crew of 27 men were stranded in one of the harshest places on Earth. Sub-zero temperatures, months of darkness, no way forward, no way back. That sounds horrible. That's Shackleton. That is the Endurance. And I don't think anybody's in it at that point. Shackleton's shift. So this is where Shackleton's true power showed up. His identity was never just an explorer. First and foremost, he was a captain and a leader. His mission shifted, and it wasn't about making history anymore. It was about keeping every man alive. For nearly 2 years, Shackleton led his crew across the ice and the seas. They camped in freezing darkness. They had to haul their backup boats for miles, and they survived on whatever they could. Who do you show up as? Eventually, Shackleton and his crew reached a barren island. They had to sail there. From there, Shackleton and a small team, they took on the three boats to get to the island, and they created a better ship, which they sailed 800 miles through some of the roughest waters on Earth, and they finally reached help, which was at the tip of Africa, I believe. But once they got on land, they still had a hike. I don't know how long, but they had a hike so long to find help. And the miracle is, long story short, there's way more information I would highly recommend if you care about leadership or just to know about this, about Shackleton's story in general, is when he returned, not one of his men died. And that's the power of identity. Shackleton didn't rely on discipline to drag himself forward. He was anchored in who he believed he was, a leader who would not let his men die under his watch. Man, is amazing. The crazy thing is too is that like he didn't um he was not well known until more recently about what he did because he was not the first man to and him and his crew to cross Antarctica. So I do wonder when life gets messy, who do you most want to show up as? Think about it, write it down, share it with us. Let's go. Sloth, you can be chilling, no wrong answers. Maybe you want to be superhero. I prefer superhero personally, but there's no wrong answers. Why setup or your system beats willpower? So the big picture we got today is that discipline was never the problem. Your system was, your setup was. So we saw how environment beats willpower with my personal story about studying in a quiet place. We saw how clarity creates consistency because Sylvester Stallone had that clarity of knowing he was Rocky. So he continued until he became Rocky. And then we saw how identity drives action by Ernest Shackleton. So if you put these three together, and discipline isn't something you have to chase anymore, it's a natural result of the system around you. How awesome is that? It's crazy. So I got a challenge for you this week. Here is my challenge. I want you to write down one setup trap that makes follow through harder than it should be. Maybe it's a tool that pulls you off track. Maybe it's a habit that eats your mornings. Maybe it's saying yes too much. Maybe it's not sleeping enough. Maybe it's too much social media. Who knows? Write it down. Whatever it is, I want you to name it. And if you're comfortable enough, share it. Drop it in the comments here, post it inside the group. You'll be surprised about how many other people are wrestling or in the same struggles as you. And if this clicked, make sure you're following along here for weekly systems, for real stories that will help you make your weeks calmer and more productive. Yeah, this is just the beginning.